Alright, y'all boys, we're back with another solo leveling Arise video, and today we're going to be doing a tier list based off the characters that are currently in the game. Of course, later on when Shay comes out, or excuse me if I butchered her name, when more characters do release, I will be updating the tier list. There will be some characters that are notable mentions that will be at certain tiers that you may not agree with because I think they deserve to be there simply due to the fact that there's no other character that can do what they can do. Of course, they not be may be the very best, but like later on when there is characters that do what they do, of course they will be dropped down if that character is better than them, right? So let's get right into it. We're just gonna start off from the bottom and then work our way up, okay? We'll start from the SRs and then move our way into the SSRs, excuse me. First up, we have Eugin Ho, right? So Eugin Ho, he is a defender. He's actually a very good and useful character in this game that I don't think a lot of people is invested into. But basically, he's able to give himself a shield and drop potions for the team that you can pick up and heal. On top of that, when you get a certain amount of dupes, he also provides an aura that scales. I believe the damage is done off of his defense. I could be wrong, it might be his HP. No. I think the shield is his HP, and then the aura is based off his defense, right? So his entire kit is basically he does more damage based off of defense. So he's tanky. He does, and the aura is passive damage, right? So whenever he uses his skill, that shields him, he will gain an aura that will do damage for 10 seconds, and then it's on a 10-second cooldown. But then if you have Viridescent on him, if you have a Viridescent set on him, then you're able to properly lower that to have 100% uptime and passively always do damage with his aura. So I think he's a very good character. He has break, he has defense, he's beefy, he has a bunch of HP, he has an aura, he provides healing for your team. He kind of does a little bit of everything. I wouldn't say he's necessarily useless or anything. I think he's actually a very good SR and he's super underrated. I think a lot of people need to test him out a little bit more because he actually does provide that role for breaking and healing support basically, right? So I'd like to say, in my opinion, he is very good. So next up we have Song. So Song is a fire mage, and basically Song's kit is basically his second skill is it's like the red lotus flower or something like that, and basically when you use it and you land all the three hits on an enemy, it increases your core attack damage by 20%, stacking up to 3 times, right? So you do that and then you'll be increasing your core attack, and then of course you have your ult does all the burns and stuff. He's he's an okay character. I don't think he's anything crazy. He's very simple compared to a lot of other characters. He doesn't do anything unique or anything of the sort. He's just okay, right? Like he just inflicts burn and he does a little bit damage, right? Now, of course, you can use him in the comp with like Emma and Choi, and you could have a full burn team, and then of course she increases fire damage, so like you'll have a good team going there between the three of them. But as soon as there's a damage taken increase fire type character, you probably won't even use him anymore inside that burn comp. I'd like to say that he's just C, can be useful a bit. All right. Next up we have Park Hijan. So basically she is a wind mage, and I think she has a very it's not unique, but she has a very interesting kit. She's able to remove debuffs from your team. Every skill that she used gives her like power gauge like 8%. She also decreases the cooldown of her ult by like 30%. Gives power gauge for your team as well, like entirely, not just her, but like literally for everybody. She's like super good. Like she's a power gauge battery, and then like she's an ult spammer too. So like you can off field her very easy. But like if you want to put her on the field, you can because all her cooldowns are super quick. And then like I recommend using her with like the ultimate skill set. It gets kind of really insane how quickly your ult is coming back, and how it's like you're basically getting almost like a 40 or 50, almost a 50% like with between the ultimate skill reduction and then like her innate passive. You're getting like a really large chunk of reduction on her ultimate skill, and it makes it so like you really feel like you're spamming her ult frequently, and you're getting it back fast too because she does give her power gauge. So she's like more of a power gauge type of character, power gauge slash ult character, but she can do it so frequently. I'd like to say she's very good. If you like need a power gauge buffer on your team, but you also don't want to have someone who's main fielding, she's really good, and she's a really good like in my opinion. If you don't have Huang, probably if you don't have Huang and Wu, I mean you should have Wu because you get him for free for 7 days. But like he's better suited as the breaker for your team. She's a really good sub option for DPS. I'd like to say she's very good. This character, I forgot his name. I read his kit. It's not that good. Like he has like I believe he's able to use his one of his skills infinitely, but the duration is only 3 seconds, and I think it's only like 1 or 2 times per battle or something. I don't know, something like that. He's just not that good. I really think he's useless. Like you have like no use for him. Like his kit is really wonky. It's just they're all very conditional. It's not the best. Next up we have Nam Chae-young, I believe her name was, right? So this character is absolutely insane. Okay, I say insane. I'm probably like kind of overrating her, but she's super good. And the reason I say that she's super good is simply due to the fact that she is a breaker. She applies freeze, and you need to do Cerebus to get your gears. So you kind of need blues, and like if you don't have Sayo, she's a really good alternative. Not even an alternative. You could basically use her and Sayo on the same team, and Cerebus is going to be a cakewalk. Now, of course, you could say that's situational, but she's still a good breaker overall. I'd like to give her be good. She doesn't do anything unique aside from freezing and breaking. That's basically her standpoint, right? A blue breaker that can freeze. The freeze is OP. It's insane, but I don't want to give her that much hype because I'm basically looking at coverage for the entire team, not just situational niche stuff like, you know, Park Hijan, obviously Power Gauge is used in everything, and spamming ults in the while, being able to take her off is easy. And then him being a breaker, healer, and shielder is just, it's just good overall, right? So that's why I put her in B. I don't think she's better than these two or even like on the same level as these two because like she's situational. Next up we have Lee Juhee. I'd like to put good. I'd actually put her in front of her. Now the reason I say that she's good is because she's the only character in the game that regens mana. So if you are using like a team that does use the very distance set and they have so for example, if I were to use Seo and use Huang and then I use them on the very distant sets because they do spam skills a lot. Well, I'm going to be running out of mana very frequently, and Li Ju, he is a very good support for that situation, providing heals and providing mana regen for your characters, right? So I'd like to say that she's good. I wouldn't say she's absolutely trash. She does have her uses. It may be a niche use, but it's a niche use that can be used in a lot of scenarios. Next up, we have this guy. I absolutely hate this guy. I don't think he's good whatsoever. The amount of times they forced me to use him in story was not delightful. He felt wonky. It just wasn't good. Kim, very good. Shield has not only does he have shield, he does more damage when like the enemies get stunned and stuff like that. He's just good. Like he stuns. His stun is really nice. He shields. He's like what you'd expect of a tank character, right? I don't really have much to say for him. He's just like he's really both. He's good as these two characters, right? Might be even a little bit better than these two, right? Maybe I'd say like it's kind of how much you value the stun, right? Like because he kind of like shields just like Eugin, but he doesn't provide healing or anything like Eugin Ho. I feel like Eugin Ho has more uh scenarios because he could also break as well. Now we got Kang. Kang is I do kind of want to put him in very good. I don't think he's OP or anything. I do want to put him in very good, but I think there's so many other options that you can use over him as well. I guess I'd probably put him in C. Now, Kang, he's not like your best DPS, but he does inflict bleed, and we all know how good bleed is in this game. But not only does he inflict bleed, he also increases damage taken to enemies who are bleeding, right? So he's a damage taken increased character. So he's just like Libora, and he is just like Min. So it kind of gives him a lot of value. But I feel like if you have either of these two, which you should have either of these two, because Min or Libor, a lot of people kind of really just started off with, right? But I mean, he's just like a budget version of those two, right? Like he doesn't do as much damage or he doesn't do anything very unique. He's just a DPS dealer that increases damage taken to people who bleed. And his damage isn't anything to, crazy either. And on top of that, he's a dark DPS that increases damage taken when you already have Libor who does that and better. Right? Next up we have Joe Kuyan or something like that. Um he is a very good damage dealer. I will give him credit. He is a very good damage dealer, and he's super good on burn comps because when they are burning, he does more damage and all that. And the only problem with this character is his range. His range is abysmal. If you do not have dupes in this character, he's basically meleeing them. He's basically punching them. Like it's so bad. Like you need dupes for this character. This character this character would be at least a B, and then in burn comps at least an A. But because due to the fact that you need to have a lot of dupes to increase the range of his attacks, I'd say he'd either be C or almost useless. So I'd probably say C, probably the lower end C. Lower end C. You can use him, but I wouldn't recommend it. There's just better options, right? Now if you're using a burn team, then you could probably use him. He's not bad on a burn team. But he's just whatever. Next up, we have Wong Dong Suk, I believe his name is. So it's basically like Wong Dong Soon, except Wong Dong Suk. I may have butchered it, but whatever. This character is absolutely useless. Now his kit is super good. Like he has a good kit, insanely good. Like providing him a bunch of defense, damage output, all that. But his interactions with his skills are absolutely awful. The way that he attacks, the way that it positions you when he does his moves, the way that his QTE works, all of it, it's just all so bad. He just doesn't feel good. He's useless. Absolutely useless. If you have a boss who you can hit like 99% of the time, he might be better. But in most case scenarios, his attacks just miss and everything. It's just so bad. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't understand what is wrong with his targeting. It's just terrible. It doesn't make sense. Next up, we have Han Song Yi, I believe her name was. Right? Okay, so basically, she kind of fulfills a similar role as Choi. The only thing is she's not as good as Choi. And what I mean by that is she doesn't provide anything because Choi has defense down, but she doesn't provide anything else aside doing damage, right? So what I mean by this is basically how you use her is you QTE, you tag her in, right? And then you use her skill retrieve, right? And of course, if you have one dupe in her, when you use retrieve, she'll give herself a shield. Now the shield's duration is very short. It's only like 5 seconds or 3 seconds or something like that. And it's basically only for the duration that she's gonna be out. So you would go in with her QTE, you use her second skill, use her first skill, and then if you have her ult, you use her ult, right? Because this is gonna you basically drop Umbra weapons on the floor, and the Umbra weapons stay there, and then you use it. And basically, when you tag back into her and retrieve them, you're gonna do more damage to the boss. On top of that, she also poisons the target, so the target's going to be taking damage over time, even when she's off field. So like I said, she's more of like an off field character, so similar to Choi, where like you do the damage when you come out, and then swap her out as soon as possible. So she's super good, like not super good, but like she's really good. It's just I think it falls off in the fact that like utility wise, you just don't need her. Like the poison also does lower their recovery rate, which is good, I guess, if a boss does heal a lot. So like you can use her if the boss does heal. But other than that, you won't find too many uses. I'd say that she'd probably be C. I'm pretty sure someone could probably change my mind if they kind of find a comp to make her work in. Next up, we have Anna Ruiz, I believe her name was. Where do I want to put her? I think I put her on the same level as Nam. She basically breaks, and she also drops poison. She puts poison all around, like poison puddles, and poisons the bosses and the enemies and stuff like that. She's nothing like she's super simple. I don't think she has anything else to her kit other than that. It's literally just poison and break. Very standard and not, you know, not crazy or anything. It's just very simple. Put this like this. This is actually triggering me. He should actually be last. He should also be behind her. Something like this. These three are so useless. All right, now we're gonna go into the SSRs, right? And we got Woon Jinchu. Now, I've been working on him and testing him out, but I feel like he's actually a very difficult character to get to work. And the fact that he doesn't have like so basically how his kit is you want to do dodges and then do as many attacks as do as many of your skills as possible. So that way you're inflicting breaks. So he breaks really fast. I think he's one of the faster breaks in the game. The only issue is the fact that he doesn't have anything to actually protect him aside from you just need to dodge, right? And you have to frequently dodge, and of course he gives you more dodge. It's just I don't know, like I just feel like his damage is not there, but his break is definitely there. So I wouldn't say he's SOP. I'd say he's just very good, right? I'd say he's probably right here. I'd still prefer Eugin Ho than over him because Eugin Ho provides more to the team aside just thing. Now his QT now his support skill is good. I believe his support also gives you another dash or something. I could be wrong. So one of his effects gives you like another dash to like if you're using him as a support. So like if you're using Sung Jin Woo, which is very nice in certain scenarios, but I don't think you need it. It's not like a support skill you really need. So I just put him there. He's all right. Next up we have Sale, right? She's broken. There's really nothing to say about this character. She scales off of HP. Her shield is off of HP. Her weapon gives her more crit hit damage. If you get her 4 dupes, her crit hit damage also increases your max HP. It's just so stupid. Like what you have to really do is just build crit hit rate HP and then as much crit hit damage as possible, right? Like she's very simple. A lot of her skills give her super armor. Like both skills give her super armor. If you get Water Dragon training on her first skill, she's able to, give herself a shield. Will give her team a shield, excuse me. And then her second skill, she gives like 50% more break damage. Like she breaks, she resets her skill cooldown. She's just absolutely broken. She's on the top by far. There's no doubt about it. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and just put Emma over here as well to be broken as well. Now she provides a lot of utility in a similar way to Sail. She has her own little way of playing herself where basically she gets heat absorption stacks, and then when you get the heat absorption stacks, you kind of can use your second skill, which will be burn up, which will then release those stacks, and then you will use heat emission, and based on how many stacks you had previously, you'll get another set of effects, which also would be like increase your damage. This applies your effect for your entire team, and then increases your defense penetration, stuff like that, and then like when you're in your heat absorption, she can heal herself, she reduces damage taken, recovers HP, excuse me, based off of damage taken. It's like okay, well she has like everything. It's his whole utility. If you use her ult when she has like 15 heat emission, it's like okay, well GG, like you're doing like 77% more damage. It's like okay, bro, that is crazy. Her first skill has like big coverage. It covers a big, large portion of like area. It's just yeah, like okay, bro, that's good, bro. That's just good. Yeah, on the top for real, for real. Uh, Now we're gonna go to very good. I mean, not very good. S. He is S. He's very simple, simplistic. He's not OP. He's not. I mean, he's not broken. He's OP. And I just say he's OP because his ult does a lot of damage. So if you build him correctly and you build him with enough attack, enough crit, enough of that stuff, then what ends up happening is you can go the ultimate skill reduction and ultimate skill damage on set, and he does an absurd amount of damage on his ult. Mind you, all his skills do really high heavy break, and it's just like okay, well, bro's doing break. His first skill can be used multiple times. It's like extra dodges. He's just really good. He's a DPS with break, does good core damage. It's all that. Like basically, his first skill is like an evasion skill, which makes him able to use his core attack immediately, right? Next character, Min. Where do I put Min? Min, I'd like to say he's OP, right? Maybe above Lim. Now, a lot of people have been saying, okay, well, he's not that highly rated. Like I've seen some tier lists where they put him a lot lower because you could just run another DPS. Wrong. This character increases damage taken, and not only does he increase damage taken, he also increases your crit hit damage for your team as well as your crit hit rate. So it's like, can you really say he's bad when he's providing you damage taken? He has a disguise to help him, right? To like protect himself, like when he's coming in and stuff like that. It's like the damage taken skill is basically it moves, right? But it's like a big area. It's like a big area, so like you could hit multiple enemies with this damage taken increase, and he's giving crit hit rate and crit hit damage to your team. You really can't say that this character, and he heals too. He's a healer too. You really can't say that this character is any less than OP, right? This character has to be up there. If you say he's any less, you're delusional. Like he has to be S, right? There's like, bro, like come on now. Like if you put him with Seo, like you're enabling your Seo to like further lengths. He's just good. All right, he's just good. You want him for like a lot of your teams. That crit hit rate and crit hit damage just help your consistency for any of your DPS characters. Good. Next up, you have Libora. Now she doesn't provide as much as Min. I'd like to say she's S. Very good is let me see. She does increase damage taken. She's really good off field because you can use your little minion stuff that I believe it's your second skill and put them out. And then even when you swap out, they're still there attacking the enemy. So you do have some passive damage. But is she as like, could she really be OP? Like, is she on the same level as Min? I mean, I guess, yeah, because like she could do damage as well, right? She could do damage as well. I really kind of want to put her in A. I really don't like how her charms work. That's just me. This is just in my opinion. I don't think she's the same level as Min. Like you're using her for the damage taken. You might like if you want using her for the damage taken, you want as much support and utility as possible, anyways, right? Like the extra little bit damage is nice, but like she's not gonna be on field. She's gonna be off field. So it's like, is it really worth it just for the damage taken and the little bit of minions on the out? Huang Dongsu, he's SS broken. He's broken, guys. All right. There's no way around it. I'm sorry, you guys just don't know him like I do. He's SS. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, but no, I'm just messing with y'all. He's not SS. Well, uh, yeah, he's not SS. He'd be like SOP, right? I'd say he's probably below Min. Now, I think he's higher than Lim. Like, I don't think Lim even reaches the amount of damage that Huang can do. Huang does way much more damage faster and quicker and provides himself survivability, right? Now, he may not have as much dodges as Lim, but he provides himself a shield that's like insane. He gives himself defense penetration. He's going through the enemy's defenses no matter what, right? He's going to output more damage than Lim, no matter what you think or what you do. And that's just how I feel, right? Now you could probably say otherwise, but I personally believe he is definitely way better than Min. And then he can be better than Min because Min is actually juiced. I just don't want to put him in SS broken because he's just a support, and a lot of supports actually tend to be really OP, and just putting him in broken just doesn't feel right for me. Next up, we have Choi. Choi is SSOP. SOP, excuse me. I actually might even consider him broken, but we'll put him SOP. The reason for this is he's good damage. He does his ult. Like you do his two skills, then you do his ult, then you do his two skills again because they reset after his ult, and then you can just switch out of him, and you do all that with a defense down all the time. Every time you do it, they have a defense down no matter what because you tag into him and his QTE inflicts defense down. I really want to put him in SS broken, but I don't think he's on the same level as these two. I don't think any character in the game is on the same level as these two. Next up, we have Big. Now, Big, I'm kind of having mixed feelings about base Big. Now, he does good break damage. He does good damage. And like for him to do good damage, you want to trigger his violent explosion. So it's not as consistent as the other DPSs. And then in terms of, break, he's really good at breaking. There's no question about that. But like, is he better than Lim at doing damage? No. So I just don't really like. He's probably by far one of the best breakers in the game. I just don't see him doing the best damage, right? Like, he's just a breaker, and not every boss you can break, right? I just don't really see him having more value than any of these other characters, right? Like, Lim breaks better than him in certain cases, but Lim also good does, like, even if Lim doesn't do as much break as Baek, if that was the case, Lim does good damage all the time. So it's just like, well, it is what it is. I just personally prefer him right here at S at the bottom. I just don't feel like his kit is up to par in terms of like what he can do. Like, he's kind of like a jack of all trades feeling for me, right? Like, he's kind of like Eugin Ho, right? Like, Eugin Ho does what he does, but more, right? But like, he doesn't do as much damage as Big. He's definitely not as bad as Wu. Like, Wu, he does good breaking. Him and Bake are probably the better. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like these three, Lin, Bake, and Wu, are all three of these are really good in terms of breaking. It's just Wu does like no damage, and then Lim does a lot of damage, but his breaking is okay. And then he does a lot of breaking, but his damage is okay. It's kind of like they're kind of vice versa. So I don't know how I feel about it. Now we have Silvermane Bake. I'd like to say Silvermane Bake is right about here. He doesn't out DPS Wong. I haven't seen him out DPS Wong even with the bleeds, and I have them both at 5 dupes. I have them both built well. I like so the biggest problem with him is he's super risky. If he wasn't risky, he'd probably be like S at the top, right? Like right in front of Min, or maybe like right in front of Choi. But due to the fact that he's very risky, you have to be below a certain threshold. You're basically playing at like you're playing on like a needle, bro. Like, any any hit and you could die, and then you'd have to reattempt the run. In terms of damage, his damage output is actually insane. Like, you're constantly, when you're doing all these damage numbers, you don't really notice it because you'll probably be like, okay, well, it's a little bit low, right? Because most of his kit revolves around doing normal attacks and core attacks, and you don't really notice it because they're lower, right? Because they have less modifiers, obviously. But you need to keep in mind that his second skill is a stimulant, and once you activate that stimulant, you're attacking very fast and rapidly and doing a lot more damage. Like, you're doing attacks at a certain pace. Like, you're doing 10 attacks in maybe like 2 seconds, right? So that's gonna be just like one attack is another character does in like 2 seconds as well, right? Because they're not gonna be attacking as fast as him. So it's like you kind of have to look at it in that perspective. And then on top of that, the bleed that he inflicts on the enemies also do a shit ton of damage. I think I was seeing him like the bleeds just constantly proccing for like 100k in ticks when I was using it. Of course, this was granted at 5 dupes, right? I think he's a very difficult character as well. Just like Huang, a very difficult character to actually manage. You have to manage their stats correctly to actually make them play efficiently, and that's why I wouldn't recommend them, especially to a new player. I wouldn't recommend Silvermane Big or Huang. These are for more like veteran players who actually got a feel for it and they actually have the gear to actually properly maintain how they play, right? Because they both use the Dragon Knight set, and they both kind of have a mix of spread of stats. Huang wanting defense and defense penetration while also trying to maintain crit rate and crit damage ratio. And then you will have Silvermane Big, who wants attack, but you want obviously attack percent and the flat attack, right? And then crit hit and crit hit damage, and then you also want some HP too, because the bleeds are based off of HP, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's kind of like you have to do a little mix. So I feel like they're much more difficult and not as simple as the other characters. The other characters will be just HP, crit rate, crit damage done. Defense, crit rate, crit damage done. But them, they kind of have like a lot of things going for them in their kit that spread. So it's just like they're harder to build. So I don't think a lot of people have them built out, and that's why they'd have them a lot lower rated in this tier list. But in my opinion, as a person that does have them built out and does have all these other characters also, because since I have every single character in the game, I have a knowledge to each character that I built out. Like every SSR, I have basically almost like semi built out, and I've been playing with them. And this is how I came up with a lot of this information, and in terms of viability, how in content that you would use them in, and what you would use them for, right? Uh, but yeah, I mean, these are where I would rank these characters. In my opinion, I'd put Wong and SS broken right behind these two if it wasn't for the fact that his ult was such a drawback in without being able to stop the boss and you having to be right in front of them, right? So I mean, overall, this is going to be the tier list that I make. Uh, Hopefully, you guys like it and enjoy it. You may agree or disagree, but this is, in my opinion, the characters and how I rank them and how I felt when I used them and I played with them and tested them. Of course, we'll all have differentiating opinions, but be sure to let me know what you guys think and what you guys feel about the tier list. I know it's a little bit different from a lot of other people's, but this is how I genuinely feel about the characters currently in the game. And I mean, what you can use them on kind of also depends on their ranking on the tier list. And I've used them in a lot of different contents, and this is how I feel like their placement should be. I could be wrong, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's all an opinion. It's not like it's justified or anything. So yeah, and then of course when Shay comes out, I'll also be doing a tier list. I will be fixing up the tier list and inserting her and seeing how as time goes, especially when the new artifacts come, the new artifacts will probably change a lot of positionings for a lot of characters. Some characters might go higher, some characters might not change, and some may go lower just simply due to the fact that another character is just better than them, though. All right. So, yep, that's about it. I appreciate you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.